Check out this headline from the Crypto Basic: Ripple versus SEC. A former White House official claims the SEC has dropped its case against Ripple. Now, let me start by saying, I don't think there's much truth to this, but it's causing a buzz in the XRP community. With crypto media outlets picking it up, it's worth diving into the chatter and seeing why this is making waves. The real question here isn't just what's happening, it's why this is still dragging on. I've been trading crypto successfully for over 380 days, consistently closing every month in profit. In the last 90 days alone, my followers have earned over $29,000 in profits by copying my trades. Want to see my verified stats? Click the first link in the profile description and start copying my trades for free today. Let's dive into some fascinating insights from XRP community attorneys James Murphy, aka Metal Lawman, and Jeremy Hogan, who recently broke down what they think is really at play. Spoiler: there's a lot happening behind the scenes, and it's more complex than it seems. Here's the kicker: it might not even be the SEC causing the delay. What if Ripple is the one hitting pause? Stay with me, because I'm about to unpack it all. But first, a quick note. I'm not a financial expert, just someone connecting the dots. Let's go. This isn't financial advice. Don't make any moves based on what I say or write, okay? Let's dive in. Anthony Scaramucci, once the White House Director of Communications, has stirred the waters with a bold claim. The SEC has dropped its case against Ripple. He shared this during a lively chat on the Wolf of All Streets podcast. Alongside host Scott Milker, the two dove into hot topics like Donald Trump's crypto-friendly vision and the evolving regulatory landscape of the industry. Just recently, Donald Trump boldly declared the war on crypto to be over, about a week and a half or 2 weeks ago to be exact. I've mentioned this a few times before, and while it doesn't mean every single case suddenly vanishes with the wave of his hand, it feels pretty clear to me. The attacks on crypto are winding down, and at this point, it's more of a formality than an active battle. I'm sticking to that view, but interestingly, as you'll see, it might just be Ripple that's keeping things from moving faster. The conversation didn't stop there. They dove into other developments, especially the SEC's unexpected move to drop cases against several crypto companies. Milker pointed out some big names on the list, including Consensus, Gemini, Uniswap, Coinbase, and Robinhood. But then Scaramucci jumped in, playfully suggesting Ripple should be added. Milker quickly agreed, saying, "Yeah, that's right," hinting at the possibility the SEC might have backed off the Ripple lawsuit too. Yet, this remains speculation for now, as the SEC hasn't made any official announcement. The Ripple case continues to loom in the Second Circuit Court of Appeals, keeping everyone guessing. Honestly, I think this all comes down to some unclear wording. When Scaramucci suggested throwing a Ripple in there, I highly doubt he was literally claiming the case was over just because Scott Milker mentioned other lawsuits wrapping up. It seems more likely he was lumping it into a similar category, not making any definitive statement. That explanation feels far more plausible to me. Of course, it'd be great if he clarified his comments, but given his background and connections, it's easy to see why his words carry weight and get amplified. That's why this has blown up on social media within the XRP community and even spawned articles. But honestly, I think this is all smoke and no fire. Just another case of overhype. I think he just didn't choose his words carefully enough. He should have said something like, "I believe it's going to fade away, just like all the examples you mentioned." That would have made sense. I do think that's where we're headed. But there's absolutely no evidence suggesting it's over. Plus, he's not even part of the current White House administration. Sure, maybe he knows someone who knows something. That's possible. But does he have insider information? Highly doubtful. And the way it's being framed, coming specifically from him? Yeah, I'm not buying it. So the real question is, why is the Ripple SEC case still dragging on while so many others are getting resolved? That's the headline Cointelegraph is asking. And it's a good one. Let's dive straight into the heart of the XRP community for some fascinating insights. The post you see on your screen is one I shared a few days ago, but it's so relevant to what's coming up that I need to revisit it quickly. Trust me, it sets the stage perfectly for the perspective I'll share next from attorney Jeremy Hogan. Now, here's the twist. Attorney Hogan didn't just comment on this. He actually reshared the original post from attorney Murphy that's right in front of you. So before we get to the juicy new details from Hogan, let's recap Murphy's thoughts to make sure everything flows smoothly. I promise to keep it quick, but context is key here. So what did attorney Murphy propose? He speculates that the SEC's puzzling delay in dismissing the Ripple case might not be entirely on the SEC. Instead, Ripple could be negotiating fiercely to push the SEC into vacating parts, or all, of Judge Torres's decision. The Torres decision was a big win for XRP holders, no doubt about it. But let's face it, Ripple isn't out of the woods yet. The findings of securities law violations and the injunction with its bad boy provisions could spell trouble. especially if Ripple has plans for a future exempt securities offering or dreams of going public with an IPO. Now, here's where things get interesting. I can't shake the feeling that the SEC might jump at a settlement where both sides drop their appeals, and they pocket the $125 million penalty. If that's true, Ripple could be aiming for an even sweeter deal. Just a hunch, though. Pure speculation on my part. Of course, I could be way off the mark. Wouldn't be the first time. Plus, there's no guarantee a federal judge would agree to scrap a prior ruling as part of any settlement. This one is far from a sure thing. A few years back, this was pretty standard practice in the legal world when I first started. But times have changed, and judges have grown less inclined to accept it. So, here we are. Could this delay be Ripple's doing instead of the SEC's? It's a compelling idea, isn't it? Totally possible. Here's what Attorney Hogan had to say about it. He shared his thoughts on X, shedding light on the situation. The delay in resolving Ripple's case likely stems from the injunction in Judge Torres's ruling. The judgment restricts Ripple from making direct sales to customers. While there are ways around this, Ripple would obviously prefer to avoid the injunction entirely. Makes you wonder, doesn't it? Let's break this down, folks. He's clearly talking about the institutional side of things here. As you know, Ripple came out on top with programmatic sales, basically XRP sold anonymously on crypto exchanges. Simple enough. But when it comes to institutional sales with their customers, Ripple took a hit. Honestly, it still doesn't add up to me. The silver lining? This ruling doesn't directly affect XRP holders, so we're in the clear there. That said, I get why Ripple might want to push back. It can't be an easy pill to swallow, and that may be slowing the process. Now, here's the kicker. Attorney Hogan points out that if the SEC is willing to collaborate, there's a catch. Once the court issues an injunction, Ripple and the SEC can't just shake hands and ignore it. That's the real challenge. Believe it or not, plenty of guys have landed in hot water by assuming that getting back together with their girlfriend meant they could ignore a restraining order, one of those legal injunctions banning them from being within 200 feet of her. So, how do you dissolve an injunction? Spoiler alert, it's not easy. That's probably why this particular case is dragging on until April or May, while others have already wrapped up. Federal Rule 60 is your starting point. It's the rulebook for seeking relief from a judgment. But as you'll quickly notice, it's no walk in the park. The gist? You can't just waltz back into court and ask for a do-over unless something significant has changed. The argument here might be that the SEC is revamping crypto regulations, potentially rendering the injunction pointless once the new rules are in place. Sounds reasonable, right? Not so fast. The court leaned on the Howey test for its decision, which is rooted in U.S. Supreme Court precedent. No rule change from the SEC can override that. So, is it doable? The short answer is yes, but tread lightly. If you dig into similar cases, you'll notice judges wield a lot of discretion. Navigating this requires precision and strategy, not wishful thinking. Ultimately, it's all in the judge's hands. What makes this situation so unique and compelling is that the parties involved would likely approach the court together, requesting the injunction be lifted. Picture this. The girlfriend steps forward, says she's in love again, reveals she's pregnant, and announces they're getting married. That's a powerful case for dissolving the injunction. On top of that, there's no one to challenge the judge's decision if it's not handled perfectly. That gives this moment even more weight. Ripple only gets one opportunity to convince the trial court, so their motion has to be meticulously crafted. That kind of precision takes time and requires the SEC's approval. Another hurdle. Once they reach an agreement, both sides will drop their appeals. Then, Ripple will bring its carefully worded motion to the trial court, ready for its one and only shot. The judge still needs to decide on the motion, and that could take some time. That's why I'm leaning toward May as the timeline, though there's always a chance the appeals get dismissed in April, even before Ripple's brief is due. Have an awesome week ahead. It's fascinating to see all the layers of complexity in this case, but honestly, if I were Ripple, why not go for it? Momentum is on their side. Why not take the shot and see where it leads? Wouldn't life be so much simpler if this whole injunction just disappeared? No more jumping through endless hoops to handle transactions, especially foreign exchange ones. It's ridiculous that Ripple, which has openly said they're using stablecoins for payment corridors involving the US, is stuck in this mess. Seriously, you can use XRP as a bridge currency across the entire globe, but the moment a US corridor is involved? Nope, not allowed. How absurd is that? It's utterly nonsensical. I mean, come on. Hopefully, this gets resolved soon for Ripple's sake. But hey, for us XRP holders, we're already winning. We're in a golden moment, and honestly, I won't be shocked if, once this plays out, whatever form that takes, the market reacts big time. If it unfolds between April and May, there's a solid chance the bull market keeps roaring. Who knows where XRP could be by then? Maybe it's already taken off, but if that news drops while the market's already buzzing with excitement, things could go absolutely wild in no time. It's an electrifying moment to be holding XRP, no doubt about it. Quick reminder, I'm not a financial advisor. Don't make any buying or selling decisions based on what I say. Seriously, that would be a terrible move.